Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video I just want to talk about 6 lies that alcohol made me believe back in my binge drinking days. And not only did I quickly find out that they were lies after quitting alcohol, they were huge lies. But before we get into today's video, just want to thank Zaxee for partnering with me again. Zaxee's a dating platform that skips the part where you have to justify being sober. It's free to sign up. You can use the code BRINLEY40 for a special offer, and I'll tell you a bit more about them later on in the video. But the first lie was needing alcohol on holiday. And the thought of going on holiday when I was younger and not drinking was just the worst thought ever. You know, late teens, early 20s, when everything in my life revolved around alcohol. But as I got older, late 20s, etc., I think it more worried me, you know, kind of like, what would I do? I would be so bored, because my whole life, like many people watching this video, going on holiday just meant pints at the airport, drinks on the plane, hitting the all-inclusive bar, heading down to the main square and sitting on plastic seats at plastic tables drinking cheap beer. But honestly, sober holidays are just one of the greatest things ever. I just love going away and waking up in the morning, feeling great, having breakfast, having the whole day ahead, enjoying weather like this, having money in your pocket to spend, staying in nicer hotels because I've got more money to spend. And it's just a wonderful experience. And most importantly, probably, not needing a week off after my week off, which I used to do all the time, which is so bizarre. But before getting into the second one, I just want to tell you a bit more about my partner, Zaxee. Zaxee is a sober dating platform created specifically for people who are alcohol-free, sober curious, or just don't want alcohol to be the centre of the relationship. I remember looking back to when I first quit in 2017, and being sober and my sobriety was so sacred, and I would have done anything to protect it. And using a regular dating platform just wasn't on the cards, because I knew all the dating would somehow revolve around alcohol, whether it be going to a pub, you know, meeting at a pub for a meal, drinks before or after the cinema. There was just no way of getting around it. And using a platform like Zaxee just helps remove that awkward "I don't drink" conversation from the start. You know, the dreaded "why don't you drink" question that we all always get. Everyone on the platform's there for similar reasons as well. You know, they understand the alcohol-free lifestyle. So if you've been putting it off because, you know, like myself, alcohol is just such a big part of modern dating culture, then it's worth checking it out. It's free to join. You can use the code BRINLEY40 for a special welcome offer. The link's also in the description to the platform, and also check out the pinned comment for more details about Zaxee. The second one was needing alcohol at events, and just like sober holidays, I just didn't even know how to navigate it, and I just thought it would have been boring. As usual, everything's boring without alcohol, and I'm sad to admit that a lot of the times I wasn't even focused on the event. I wasn't focused on the match, the band. I was just wanting to get drunk and get hammered. And if even when folk were visiting me I hadn't seen for a while, I was just kind of more focused on the drink. You know, going to an event for me is a free pass to get as drunk as possible. Didn't matter if I was working the next day. It was the usual, you know, YOLO, you only live once, got to make the most of it. My mates visiting, what am I meant to do? And it was just excuse after excuse, and there's nothing better these days. Like I say, going to a gig for the music, going to a match for the match. It's so much better. The third one would be the big lie, miserable if I'd quit. And it's funny because when I quit, I couldn't have been more miserable. Doing the same old crap all the time, feeling lethargic, no energy, getting nowhere in my life, and just having constant brain fog, and just can't be bothered doing anything. And I just, looking back, I I can't believe how miserable I was. I really was. And to think that I would end up being miserable when I quit is just another massive lie. The fourth one is my drinking was normal. And I think everyone else's drinking was normal in the pub, but it wasn't. I remember it must have been a podcast I was listening to maybe help myself get off it. This is before I quit the first time. And I just remember somebody saying, like, look around you to see who else is drinking. And I remember being on the plane looking about. Nobody else had a beer. Nobody else had a couple of those 50cl vodka bottles you buy, the 50 milliliter ones. Nobody else had them. Nobody else had 4 cocktail cans on the table when I was on the train from Glasgow to Edinburgh. It was only me. And hearing things like that just reminded myself that my drinking wasn't normal. And with your drinking being called normal, it'll be other folk in the pub. And everyone knows that it's not normal. But again, you kid yourself on. The fifth one was that it helped me with anxiety. I remember, this only popped into my head lately, I don't know why, but I remember speaking to one of my mates who lives in London now. And I remember him phoning me, and we were discussing, I think it was the first time I'd discussed anxiety. He phoned me up and said, but I don't know what this feeling is. I'm kind of, a bit edgy and jittery. And I said to him, are you like worrying about worrying? Because that's what we used to call anxiety, like worrying about worrying. He was like, that's it. I don't know what I'm worrying about. And I was like, yeah, I'm getting that as well. I don't know what it is. But I remember I could get rid of it with my drinking. And that obviously spurns on with the drinker's mindset, of course, to alcohol cures the anxiety. Everything falls under this anxiety umbrella. If you're worried or have challenges or issues, alcohol's there, it'll get rid of it. But as we all know, on the Monday morning, all your troubles are still there. They're even worse. And they're amplified tenfold, 100-fold by the anxiety. The sixth and final one is everyone else who wasn't drinking was miserable, absolutely crazy. And I remember sitting in pubs before, looking outside, and I knew I was miserable at the time, but I would never admit it. And I remember seeing folk like cyclists and couples out having walks and generally being jealous. But again, you tell yourself, you and everybody in the pub, you're sitting there in a dark pub on a Saturday when the parks are full and the streets are full and people are having barbecues, and you're sitting there kidding yourself on that I'm the one having a good time. I can afford to be in the pub. Everyone wants to be here. But my life, like I said on point 3, my life was the miserable one. It wasn't everybody else. And it was great to say, just look back and know that was another huge lie that I was told among many. But hopefully you enjoyed these 6. Please share yours in the comments as well. I'm sure there's so many out there and I always love hearing them. And check out Zaxee as well. Brilliant platform. Like, hype, subscribe and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.